Wednesday, April 26. A glimpse of heaven. In Revelation chapter 4, John beholds an open door in heaven and receives the invitation to, as it says in verse 1, "Come up here and I will show you things which must take place after this." Jesus invited the apostle to look through the open door in heaven's sanctuary to view eternal scenes in the great controversy between good and evil. We too can look through that open door with John and receive a glimpse of the eternal plan of salvation. We are witnesses of issues that are being decided in heaven's celestial court. Fundamental issues in the great controversy between good and evil develop before our eyes. Read Revelation chapter 4, verses 2 to 4. What similarities can you see here with the judgment scene in Daniel 7? Revelation 4, beginning at verse 2, "Immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he who sat there was like a jasper and a sardius stone in appearance. And there was a rainbow around the throne, in appearance like an emerald. Around the throne were 24 thrones, and on the thrones I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white robes, and they had crowns of gold on their heads." This is obviously a throne room scene. God the Father sits upon the throne surrounded by heavenly beings. There is thunder and lightning symbolizing God's judgment. We also notice in Revelation 4:4 that 24 elders are present around God's throne. Who are these 24 elders? In ancient Israel, there were 24 divisions in the Levitical priesthood. These priests represented the people before God. In 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9, the apostle declares that New Testament believers are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. These 24 elders could, perhaps, represent all the redeemed that one day will rejoice around the throne of God, or perhaps they represent the people resurrected at Christ's resurrection who ascended to heaven with him. As we read in Matthew chapter 27, verse 52, "And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised." And Ephesians 4, verses 7 and 8, "But to each one of us grace was given according to the measure of Christ's gift. Therefore," he says, "when he ascended on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts to men." Either way, this is good news. There are some of the redeemed from the earth around the throne of God. They face temptations just as we face them. Through the grace of Christ and the power of the Holy Spirit, they overcame. They are clothed in white robes, signifying the righteousness of Christ that covers and cleanses their sins. They have a golden crown upon their heads, signifying that they are victorious in the battle with evil and are part of heaven's royal line of faith-filled believers. We see a throne set in heaven with God sitting upon it. There are heavenly beings around the throne, and soon all of heaven begins to sing, and the crescendo of praise builds higher and still higher. As it says in Revelation 4:11, "You are worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power. For you created all things, and by your will they exist and were created." This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.